Hi all, welcome to Beanie Composter. If you're new to our channel, then this is about owning a hot bin, the ups and downs and the pros and cons. So if you haven't already subscribed, don't forget, hit that like button and leave us some comments. But today's video is going to be on, if you've just received your hot bin, then whereabouts do you locate it? If you haven't already used or seen one of these hot bins, then this is the mini, but even the larger one, which is 200 litre, they're actually, when they're completely empty, they're quite light, so that makes them really easy to move around your garden, so you can sort of trial it out in different places. Unlike a cold composting bin, where most people tend to put them, they look a bit unsightly, so people tend to put them, you know, right at the back of the garden, right out the way where no one can see them, and because they're not insulated, they don't really heat up that well, so generally they're normally dark, you know, green or black, and they need some sort of sunlight to absorb some heat. This thing can be located anywhere, so even in, you know, next to your house, in a shaded area, it doesn't really matter. One thing you do need to make sure is it's on a level, flat surface. According to the Hotbin company, you can locate this on pretty much any surface, so grass, soil, concrete, you know, anywhere that's flat you can locate it. And there are a few things you need to consider before you do locate it, and I'm going to go through those now. As I've said, first and foremost, you need a flat surface, because, you know, you're collecting leachate, which is here as it falls down, and also, you know, if it's unstable, once this thing fills up, it could easily topple over. So make sure your surface is nice and level. Now on the Hotbin company, they were showing setting it up using spirit levels. Well, you're not playing snooker on top of it, so it doesn't need to be spot on perfect, but, you know, flat is good. The Hotbin company now sell a plinth on their website, which raises up your hot bin and makes it more accessible for you to collect the leachate. For me, that's quite expensive, so, you know, another option is just raising it up on a few bricks and a paving slab and sitting it on top of that. That way you'll still be able to collect your leachate and it won't cost you a fortune. But bear in mind, if you're going to do that, then just make sure you've got someone that can help you lift the paving slab and the bricks. One thing I will say is, when you locate your hot bin, you want to have it somewhere that is easily accessible. So if you've got a large garden that maybe in the, you know, the winter you have loads of snow, or, you know, the garden floods and, you know, you find it quite, you know, a bit of a chore to go to it, then that's not going to be ideal, because this thing, you're going to keep it hot, you're going to need to minimum fill it up once a week. So, you know, if you get a bit lazy with it and it's, you know, right out the way, then that's something to consider, that, you know, when the weather's bad and things like that, you might just think to yourself, I can't be bothered today. So have it where it's easily accessible, and you know, these things get quite obsessive, so you'll be popping out there quite a bit to check what's going on. So just make sure you can get to it easily. So, you know, like I say, if your garden floods and you're not able to get to it so easily, it could be, you know, it's not like a normal composting bin where you can just leave it for a few months and not really worry about it. These hot bins are pretty. That's not easy to say, but, you know, anyone who doesn't really know about composting would probably walk past this and wouldn't even realise it's actually a hot bin. And when you're putting all your waste in, providing it's cooking over 40 degrees, Some birds crying out to us there. But providing it's you know, running over 40 degrees, then you can put cooked food, you know, meat bones, fish bones, all those sort of things in there. And because it's got a biofilter, you're not going to get any bad smells, and you're not going to attract any flies around it, so you can actually have it sitting right next to your house. So for an example, I've located our hot bin right next to the house there, just close to the door where we come out of, and I'll give you the pros and cons of that. If you locate it close to the house, a couple of good things are, it's real easy to just pop out, check what's going on, you know, put your stuff in, no problem. You're more intending, because it's right, you know, where you can see it, you'll probably tend to keep it a lot tidier around there. And also with you being close by, you're going to pop out and it's less likely to attract any vermin, because you know, you're always coming out and seeing what's going on. The bad thing about having it so close to the house is, you know, we've got a bit of a passageway here where, you know, you're walking out with tools, and you know, if you know, you're a bit clumsy, you could easily hit it. So that's one thing to be aware of, is that the traffic that's coming past it. If you've got kids, then you know, you don't want them riding their bike in and just like leaning it against it, because it will damage it. So, you know, if you live in, you know, just a couple of you, then it's fine to have it close by. But if you've got a family, or you know, you've got a lot of traffic going in and out, then it could end up getting damaged. Now, I haven't had the mini hot bin up and running yet, so I don't know whether with the leach aid whether any comes out of like the sides and that. But with this Mark 1, you know, it leaks out the bottom there, and around all the edges you tend to get the leach aid that can go over the floor, so that can sort of stain your patio. Although it washes off with water, you're not probably likely to do that every day. So if you've got it on a nice patio right next to your house, then that's one thing to be aware of, the fact that the leach aid can come out and stain around the area and can look a bit unsightly. Another thing to consider if you've got it close to the house is, or wherever you are locating it, is when you come to empty it, you need space around you to, you know, take the stuff out. And if you were to have it close to the house and you come to, you know, take the hatch door off, so when you do actually come to empty it, it can end up being a little bit messy sometimes. So you want to have space around you for some buckets or bags, and you know, be mindful as well, if you've got children and it's right next to the house, that they could be running through it and, you know, trampling all that into the house. When you are locating this, what you want to also be aware of is, although it's quite solid, you want to make sure you're not putting it, say, under a big tree where a big branch could fall off. And you know, if a massive branch fell off, and that would definitely damage this. Or you know, if a fence is close by that could just fall down in high winds, then that could damage it as well. So just be wary where you put it, keep it sort of quite sheltered. Like I say, it doesn't need to be in direct sunlight, so shady areas is good for this as well. The insulation is what keeps the temperature in. Can you keep the hot bin in a shed, a greenhouse, or a garage? Well, yes you can, but there are some things to consider. If you keep it in a greenhouse, then you are going to have steam, if it's hot composting, coming out of the aeration valve, and that's actually going to help your plants with the carbon dioxide that's coming out of this. If you're going to keep it in a shed or garage, what I would recommend is keeping it in some sort of container, so the leachate doesn't go all over the floor. and plus, because you've got steam coming out of the top, that's going to cause you condensation. So if you're worried about your garage or your shed getting condensation, then I wouldn't advise keeping this inside there. So for all you regulars, summary on the bench. It's pretty simple. You just need a nice flat area that you can keep your hot bin on. But certain things, you know, you need to consider. If it's going to be on, say, gravel, then the amount of weight that goes into this, it could start damaging your bottom bit, as in giving it sort of indentations in the bottom. So maybe gravel and that isn't ideal, but if you're keeping it on, say, grass or just normal soil, make sure, you know, you check that there's no vermin or rats or something, you know, digging up or burrowing underneath. Ideally, I would keep it, you know, on a concrete slab, or if you're going to buy the plinth from the Hotbin company, then, you know, just keep it somewhere where you can monitor it and make sure you're not getting any problems. So this is going to fit in almost anywhere. You know, you can still keep it with your normal composting bins, and you can also, you know, keep it next to your bin storage area. It's going to really fit in wherever you want. And because it's light, you know, you can put your compost in, and then if you're not happy after a couple of weeks or a couple of months, you can take all your compost out, move it to somewhere else, and, you know, just retrial it out until you find that place you're happy with. And if you are going to keep one in the greenhouse, then although it's not going to heat your greenhouse over winter, it may just keep the frost off it, so that's always a plus sign as well. Thank you for watching. I hope this video has helped you out on where to keep your hot bin, and until the next episode, happy composting, enjoy, don't forget to subscribe and give us a thumbs up.